our channel, A Trade of You. I'm Amy.
And I'm Go-An.
And today's guest is the one and only, the art priest.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to our channel.
I'm excited.
Woohoo!
Don't forget, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to us and press that bell so you can be the first to watch our videos.
Love that.
Love that.
So, Mr. Art Priest, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, you do music?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. I am a musician. Been doing it for years. Well, I hate that statement. Do music.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm a natural performer.
Oh God, that's so sad. No, I've always had a passion for music, and that's whether it's creating it or being part of any of the other facets of music.
Yeah.
Specifically live music, the writing, the creating, composition.
Okay.
That's where I live, really and truly.
When did it all begin, or your passion?
Now you want to take me back. You want to take me back. I hail from a very, very musical family. In fact, a very talented family. So music and theatre in its entirety. Anything quote unquote show busy or performing arts. And so I remember some of my earliest memories are like 3-4 years old.
Oh.
Singing with my mum. My mum's a great vocalist. She sings in a jazz band.
Shout out, mums.
Shout out, mummy. Come on. Hey, Sylv.
We got Sylv.
Hey, lick my lips. Get the soup on. But yeah, my mum has always had an amazing talent, and she's never been taught. It was never school. It was just something that she had as a natural talent. And so she used to drag me along, and before I knew it, I developed an ear for harmony. I developed an ear for certain arrangements and musicality. So she was like, "So come, son, we're gonna sing." And then my little brother came along, and before you knew it, we were 3D.
Oh!
3 dimensions. You know them days when them names were cool? We were the 3 dimensions. And then, picked up a guitar and started messing around. I got a couple of classic lessons at school. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't feeling it. I don't like being taught.
Oh, okay.
But I like understanding things. So I suppose one of the two has to sacrifice. So I had to learn to be taught in order to get the knowledge that I wanted. But eventually what happened was I sort of learnt the old twinkle twinkle little star, and then I thought I'm going to go away and find my own thing. So that's kind of what happened, and it kind of stemmed from there, really.
Okay.
It's way back.
Oh, way back.
Many.
It's in the bones.
It feels like it is.
So who or what would you say was your inspiration?
I mean, we've already bigged up mummy, so I can't big her up no more. So
Of course you can.
We can big up mummy again?
Yes!
Sylvie! No, honestly, I think outside of the realms of fame and fortune and other members of family that were doing stuff, it has to be mum. And I think it's because of the organics of the journey.
Yeah.
So even conversationally around the house, she carries this spirit that is consistently uplifting. Even when the situations don't bode that.
Yeah.
And her voice for that was singing. And so my development, my inspiration behind why I developed my sound, if you like, was I saw what that did for my mom and how that had an effect on everybody else around us.
Yeah.
So you couldn't walk into our house without and feel down. It just wasn't the thing that happened. Yeah. And a lot of that was triggered by mum's the vocal Tourette's. So she's sitting walking out, some old gospel tune or two reggae tune or whatever that. And from that, it triggered something in me. But if you want to know artistically who my inspiration are, I mean, I feel like I'm in the wrong era. So I'm a 1940s man, you know.
Oh, wow.
40s? That's what you was going to say.
No. We can come up. In fact, you know what? I could throw it back to the 20s. That's where I got some real inspiration. But I like, I don't know if there's an artist called Frankie Lyman who used to be part of the Teenagers. So you met someone that took you right off your heels. That kind of style there. Yeah, I'm an oldie. But I was raised around grandma and those people there. So my inspiration comes from there. And then moving forward, then you've got obviously people like Magical Stevie Wonder. And very rarely do I sort of say that anybody who's contemporary is my inspiration. They're inspiring, but they're not my inspiration, because I feel like there's, in this day and age, we've lost a bit of the soul. There's a little bit of the heart gone from the music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these guys would sweat on stage and come off, and white shirt turn grey and all kinds. And I'm like, yo, they left everything out there.
Yes.
And nowadays it's almost too slick and too rehearsed. So I'm stemming from
perfect,
when I'm like, yo, let me hear that croak in your throat.
Yeah.
Let me, do you know what I mean? Get rid of that auto-tune. So I could go back to 1940, but yeah, Stevie Wonder, obviously Luther, one of the greats, untouchable Luther.
Another bit of Luther.
But if I was gonna bring it up, then we could talk about people like Usher. But to be honest, before I say Usher, I have to say Cisco.
Drew Hill.
Yeah.
Drew Hill,
Yeah.
listen, don't get me started up in here. If I jump up and get a tell me.
Just in the bounce.
Right? Well, that's when R&B was R&B.
I used to sing in the rain.
Come on.
Yeah.
No, listen. If I don't see some water drop off your face,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And it
The
wasn't.
reaching.
Come on, the reach in the pool.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about the scantily clad, and it was a lot
Yeah.
about, we had a passion for harmony.
Yeah.
And when you hear a classic Drew Hill harmony or a Jagged Edge harmony, and you go, something else licks you in it, right?
Jonesy.
Joe, come on.
Make you close your eyes.
Anything that make you close your eyes is good enough for me. Do you know what I mean? So although as an artist, I think Usher's phenomenal, but when it came to actual, and because my voice is a lot more husky, I didn't resonate with Usher.
Yeah.
So when we were singing from the early days, and people were like, yo, and obviously we weren't cool to sing then, you had to be a rapper, you know what I'm trying to say. So if you didn't sound like Usher, you weren't really recognised like that, because if you weren't silky smooth, they weren't reviewing it. But my voice, I resonate more with the Ciscos and those guys that got a growl behind them, the Tyrese's. Yeah, I mean, that's where my team comes from. So shout out to the husky voice brothers.
Real R&B.
Real R&B. Tell them again.
The best sounds though, to be fair.
Come on.
So talking of R&B.
Oh God. You are really. Oh, okay. Let me pour myself a shloer.
Can you tell us
Go on.
what your R&B was and how it was formed?
Take the time.
God almighty.
If you need a moment.
We got all the time you need.
I really should have written down a list of things not to ask me. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. Can I pour anybody else?
No.
So, I have a friend. He's like a family member. His name is Benjamin.
Yeah. We got Benjamin.
Big up Benjamin. Government names. We're there. Government.
I'm sorry, Benjamin.
Well, it's better than QT, because that was the road name.
Okay.
Couldn't believe it.
All this business out there now.
Oh, no. It was, listen, if you got me here, you're going to get all of me. And that was the Q and the T, So, obviously my name's Reisz. And so we were just R&B. It just made sense. But, yeah, we kind of booked at church, and, we didn't even go to the same church, really and truly. My mum was doing a concert for his parents' church, or where they worshipped. And we kind of, when you just kind of meet up with somebody, it's like, yeah, man, 2 black boys in the place, first and foremost, we're going to do that nod, we're going to...
That acknowledgement.
And I listened to a man drop a little vocal, I said, you're smooth. That thing was spread on toast like nobody's business. No acrobats, no up and downs, it was just everything you needed. And I thought, come see. And before you knew it, we kind of went in the back and just started writing, we just started creating, and I think those were the days when you could take that kind of risk as well.
Yeah.
You did it for the fun of it. There was no intention of making any money, there was no intention of being superstars. In actual fact, all we ever wanted to do was go back out into the same church hall and be out of the place. But the songs we were singing, maybe we should look another venue.
I'll make the devil start to scan.
Quick walking in the back.
Yo, listen, and also as well for me, it was a good turnaround, because I was privy to some of the street life and so on and so forth. And
Thug life.
Shloer's not strong enough.
See the way he dropped it? I was privy.
Listen, I'm trying to do something for the kids. I'm trying to use the big words for the kids.
It's not where you're from, it's where you go.
Yeah.
Come on! The journey!
It's not what they call you by.
Hey,
You answer to.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a
hold
good one.
on a second. Hold that one. Hold that one. But it was a great settler. It was a great leveler at that time. I was never the worst of them, but I was never the best. And trying to maintain that balance between being really astute and I was very studious. I've always been a star, because my mind is I'm a bit on the spectrum, in a sense of like I need to know why that's the case, and so I will do whatever I need to do, and then the sort of unproductive output of that is that you get restless and you want to fly around and do loads of things. So obviously settling down with Ben was very level-headed. He's always been very level-headed, and so the two of us together rubbed off on each other. He got a little bit more energy, I got a little bit more settled, and we were a great balance, and that came out in the music. Yeah.
Shout out Ben.
Shout out Ben.
So you and Ben, RnB.
Come on.
You went on to win the best urban act in the UK.
I'm sorry. Where do you get your research from?
How did that feel?
At the time, God almighty.
Sorry, Ben.
No, don't. You're mad. Ben's gonna say, put me on next. Don't apologize to Ben. That was a great achievement, and the reason why I feel like it was a great achievement is because we were genuinely doing something that was not quote unquote cool those days, right? And we made it legible for our local community. So to win something like that, I don't think we knew what it meant at the time, right? So it's only now in reflection that I look back and go, we did that years ago. And it meant something then. Everybody's got an organisation that won some kind of award now, and that's not to disrespect anybody who wins awards, but there's so many groups and foundations that have their own versions of stuff. That was something that was really like West Midlands, UK, like, oh God, and we did that with an acoustic guitar and two voices.
Oh.
It wasn't like a full, we used to just bang the chair and I used to slap the guitar and we'd stop and then we'd bust you joke. And then we did, what was the classic one we did? The Justin Timberlake, that was the days, right?
Why don't you give us a little something now?
I don't remember none of that.
Do it again.
No. But those are the days of the and so I learned how to play that on the guitar, right? And we'd break out into this song and we'd get into this bridge and we'd two-part harmony, beautiful. And then I'd just start playing that and crowds would go bonkers. And then I'd just stop and say, you fool. You know what I mean? We really turned what could have been 3 minutes of song into 6 minutes of entertainment. And I think that was something that was very niche at the time. Ben is a short fella, and I was a big fella, and we just played with it a lot. So we kind of 8-miled everybody. You ain't got nothing that you can say against us. But we're out here, we're giving full entertainment. We used to do silly things like, how good do you think you are on the spot? And he'd go, I'm good enough. So we pull someone out of the crowd, pull a female out of the crowd, sit her down. What's your name? My name's Let Me Be.
Look at that. You see how they do us with them?
No. If you let me be.
Maybe you should have let her be.
No, that's exactly what happened. So someone come up with, let me be your fantasy. Right? And we do things like that on the spur of the moment in the middle of a gig. So when things went wrong as well, because we weren't very rehearsed, in the sense of the work, it wasn't the days of the go and book a studio type thing. It was like, can you come to my mum's?
Of course,
Big up, Sue.
Mummy, she knows your name. Get it so hard!
You famous, Mum.
Mummy, you famous. You made it. Big up, Sue. But it was those days where it was just a case of if we could meet after school. I got to the point where I was able, I would just walk into his school. Fly down into his school. The head teacher was great with it, his music, and I knock on his classroom door and be like, can I borrow Ben for a minute? Please?
Times have changed.
Yeah, for real. I got tasered at the gate.
Need to fill out forms and stuff. Check your ID.
So we didn't have that much time to rehearse. So when we did, what we did is we just go, right, we're just going to make that bit up when we do it. We'll share it up. And we relied a lot on our personality and things to drive that through, which gave me a lot of confidence because at those days there, I wasn't as confident as I am now. Or no, I didn't understand what true confidence was. So I knew how to mask confidence. And Ben was the girl, Ben get the girl, because he was young, but he had a man face. And in those days, if you was young and you had a man face, you've won. You understand? And I wasn't. I've always looked like the little teddy bear. I was everybody's friend.
He's upset by that.
Upset. You don't see the glow up. Give me some. Why let me drink my shloer? Drink my shloer tonight.
It's okay. I was everyone's friend.
But we glow.
Amen. God is grinding.
Glow gang.
Glow gang. Get the t-shirts made.
Say relax. It's true. You saw my old pictures.
Oh, listen, my mum used to dress me in algae green suits. And I used to look like T.D. Jakes when I was about 8.
And let's not talk about the struggle. Not even go there what I used to wear.
Colours.
Oh God.
And me and my sister was dressed as twins and was 4 years apart.
Like that, innit? Same waist jacket, same hat. Used to wear these little African hats there that just sit on the top of the head. Don't really fit the ground, just sit there.
Funny head front.
For some reason, my mum thought that was okay.
Struggle.
But yeah, man, that was us, man. That was good times, RnB.
Big up RnB.
So after your time with you and Ben, how did that come to an end, or why did it come to an end?
It's one of those weird things that it never really came to an end. It just organically fizzled away. We just grew up. We just grew up, and our lives took completely different paths. So again, I never moved out of Newtown, so I was still on the block. And by the time I kind of finished school, and if I'm totally honest, started to feel myself a little bit now.
Yeah.
The glow up.
I'm trying to grow up. Like and this happened for a good season after this as well. Like no, it was a season like doing up road and then coming back and singing love songs. It's a bit difficult, you know. Like it's
Change them. I privy to.
Hey, didn't you say speaking? Trying to get some trap fans, that's right. Trying to get some drill fans. You don't know how we speaks. You don't know how we speaks. But yeah, it just organically happened, and there was no animosity, there was no sort of beef, there was no sort of we're calling it a day. We just started to get less and less gigs, less time together. My family needs and his family needs were two completely different things. We remained friends, and then whilst that was happening, there was which I'm sure you already know already.
Maybe.
There was more stuff happening, and it was also as well, I think creatively where I wanted to go musically. I'd started to develop a different type of ear that wasn't sort of like the universal sound. So I started to peel away from that kind of, this is how Jagged Edge sounds, so we need to sound that way, or this is how 112 sound, and we need to sound that way. And I started to feel a real burning for some of that organics that started us. And so I started to write in a very weird way, just exploratory, but it wasn't the season for that to be explored within RnB, the group. And so I think we just naturally drifted apart. But shout out to Ben. We're still there. Every time we get back together, it's still RnB.
You see?
Big up
You know what I mean?
Ben.
RnB. So after Ben and RnB, you changed your name to Tiny Superstar.
Can you make clarity first?
Okay.
I have never named myself apart from in fact no, we'll wait until we get there. But I have never named myself, so my family name has always been Soups, which was Superstar, right? And because I wasn't Tiny, my real name was Tiny. Everyone was like, yo, they're Tiny, because I'm not. And so when I left Ben, because it was Tiny and QT, then the Tiny Superstar became a thing. So like when I went to family, it's like, is it Tiny or is it Super? What do you want? I said, just call whatever. So they started calling me Tiny Superstar. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, it's a mouthful, but we'll take it. And there was a load of Tinies that came out of nowhere by then. Everybody's Tiny now.
Titchy Tiny. Titchy Strider.
Too much cheese. Titchy Tiny.
Titchy Strider.
Tops TV.
Teeny Tiny.
All of them.
Yeah.
You get me? So I think that was like a, and it was just something I took on. I didn't really say, oh, that's got to be my name. It was just like, okay.
It was given to you.
Come on.
Yes. So at this point, when you're Tiny Superstar, did you go solo? Solo.
No. And I really feel like that's a lot to do with fear.
Okay.
If I'm totally honest. I've never really believed in my own source, and I've always been a helper. I always want people to be involved in the thing that I do, right? So I had a couple of cousins at the time. Wait for the question to come. I know the line. I know I see where this is going.
Well, find that now. Take off.
Go ahead, ask me your question. Go ahead.
Like he's done this before. Let's hide it.
What's in the little book there, huh? What's in the little book? What you gotta do?
So how's life?
Good. Go on.
So you formed a group with your friends? Yeah, so your cousins DT and Candy.
Come on, hold tight the family.
Okay.
Big up DT and Candy.
Yeah, we got DT Candy,
Come on,
man.
big up my cousins, man, for
Yeah.
life. I think what happened was, I mean, this is college times now. So me and Candy were at college together, and Candy, and I know he won't mind me saying this, he grew up, he was always in Dean's shadow. There's, I don't know if you know, there's a load of brothers. There's a load of brothers in that line. There's more than Dean's. I'm not going to call out numbers, but there's a load of brothers.
Yeah.
Big up the brothers.
Hold tight, all my brothers. I'm not calling the names though. Some of them I forget. Yeah, but Dean was a superstar. There's no denying that. Dean was the voice, the figure, the face, the everything. And not that we were in any way jealous of it. We just knew that we had to find a different lane that was kind of separate to Dean. And I mean, I'm a cousin, so you can imagine what his brother, who looks like the spitting image of him, how that would be. But Candy never held it to any kind of any grudge or anything like that. So when we was in college, Candy was just known for writing and making his own music. And I said, you can sing, you could be in it. You can sing it. Big old stinking voice.
So much love. I know.
Hey, we come from that kind of family. We slap each other to say good morning. You know what I mean? Mornings. So Candy was like, no, you know, that's Dean's thing and whatever and that. And Dean at this period of time was in a hotel courtesy of Her Majesty, and we and we you catch that one.
It took me a minute.
You catch that one, right? so that's not the crew. The hotel comes from the hotel. It's the government. I'm sorry, I won't take this seriously, no, bro. Yeah, so Dean was indisposed at the time, and so I said to Candy, you can sing. He's like, no, I'm not interested in singing thing, and I'll catch him. So we sing again. We're in college now, and he's a year younger than me in college. So I wrote a song, produced it, made a beat. I said, you're gonna sing these words, and it was phenomenal. So then we went out and bought some money and buy 2 t-shirts, we looked the same, and you know, started hitting the gym and everything there. So I need to be as big as you. You just keep eating and I'll catch up with you. And there we go. And then we sort of, you know, the college performances at South Birmingham College. We kind of had like a live performance. So we did the track. So let's do the track, man. Let's do the track. So we did it and it spun. Like it genuinely, like even to this moment, to this day, when I think about that, like I can't believe that people felt that. It was grungy. It wasn't what you expected. And then when Candy came forward and sang, you could imagine everyone's looking at him like, hold on a stinking minute. But where I live, in my mind, that's great. That was never a case of it shadowing me. That was like, look, my cousin's been put on, like, come on. So we developed our thing and we started writing out. Then I pretty much lived at Auntie's for goodness knows how long, because that was the time when you could kind of separate from, Mommy, I've gone out.
Yeah.
I soon come back. Just message me. It was that kind of life, so I was able to go and fly, and we'd make music until the cows came home. We wouldn't sleep. Sometimes we'd do 3 days straight, just creating. Maybe one man taking a nap while the other one's still making the music.
That's some hardcore grind there.
Yeah, we were on it. And then of course when Dean came out, so that became Family Affair. That was the origins of Family Affair. And actually there were certain points when Ben came back in, and it was really, really a mixed thing. When Dean came back off holiday, we kind of, it was like, yeah, you're still singing? You still want to get into singing? I'm not interested, you know, because 2 Tuesdays we got sold out, giving us, and they said, I'm just going to fly through. Just man put on a machine shirt, and I said, what on, you got a good shot. And then when we gave him a mic, it was history from there, you know, like, so the 3 of us worked out our 3-part harmony, and that was it, man.
3-part harmony, you know, cheers.
No, we lived that life, you know. We lived that life. When I get into the 4 and 5-part harmony, then we can talk, you know.
So after Family Fair ended,
you
started your solo career?
Yeah. It's weird because to this moment I don't see it as a solo career. I'm very collaborative in everything that I do. But I remember that consistently from Ben all the way through, my mum used to say to me, shout out Sylvia again, my mum used to say to me, yo baby, make sure you're keeping some stuff for yourself, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mum, don't worry, I've written this song and I can hear Ben and I can hear Dean and I can hear
Yeah.
no baby, make sure you're keeping some stuff for yourself. Because remember, I'm writing differently to how everyone else is writing.
Yeah.
So everyone else is writing with the ear of the Jagged Edges and the Drew Hills and those guys.
You're 1940s, right?
So I'm going back to like rap singing and which is stuff that, funny enough, everyone thinks is a new thing. That's an old thing.
Yeah.
You know, Cab Calloway and these old school guys and scatting and stuff. So imagine that on R&B. I'm thinking like a rapper and creating melody. And of course, it didn't necessarily fit with what. So I'm trying to. My mum's like, yo, that's your thing, you know. Make sure. So obviously, when Family Affair kind of dissipated, and again, everyone thinks that was beef, and so it wasn't beef. We just again.
Claim it up right now.
Yeah. Supposed to stare down this lane. It wasn't beef. I think people wanted it to be beef because those were the days when literally we were street kings. And people wanted to hear that things weren't going right.
Yeah.
And it's horrible to say that.
Bad mind.
Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of support.
Yeah.
In fact, more support than you would probably have now them days.
Yeah.
But that was combated by people who only wanted to see you reach a glass ceiling. Once you get further than that, they've sold out, or them man don't like each other, or them man beef. And we didn't help it because we were still doing up a little bit of street. And I remember gigs where we'd just come from putting in like a work. I've got my coat on, my cap on. Gotta get my guitar. And it just felt weird. I'm out of breath when I'm on stage singing love songs. And me and Candy look at each other like, you wash your hand yet? You're going and clean your hands then? You know what I mean? So it was hard to maintain that balance. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to. I didn't want to. And so we sort of peeled away, and I did explore some of the stuff that my mum said to bank. And I started to bring some stuff through, but again, because it didn't sound like what was popping at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't believe in the source of it. So people would come around and be like, yo, that's dope. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do with that compliment. I didn't know what do I push these. And these are the times now where my little brother's coming through with a bad boy rap vocal, and he's just fling that to his brethren, fling that to his brethren.
Yeah.
Oh God, is that what you have to do? Because remember, we're from the old school where you don't really break down the walls like that.
Yeah.
You ask politely, you stand at the door and you knock and you wait. And these youths came to us, let's have respect. But these youths, and rightfully so, because they understood the times, came for us, started kicking doors down.
Yeah.
And they're like, come on. And I'm like, are you allowed?
Yeah.
Do I take my shoes off at the door? What do you want from me? You get me? So it was about shifting my mindset from, you know what, Rishi, you can actually do this. You've got the ability, or you create your own stuff, you write your own stuff, it's all your music. So I started to go off on this solo path, I suppose you could call it, to answer the question.
So you were performing all over the country at stage as Tiny Superstar. with some big names as well. If you want to tell us about who you performed with?
In the early days, it was like So Solid, Big Brothers, remember them?
Oh, I love Big Brothers.
Well, there was I remember
was
one
one girl in that?
There was two or three.
Two girl?
And couple guys.
This is big.
There's two guys definitely,
Yeah.
and I think it was three girls.
I can't remember. Yes, you're right. It was a 5 group, 3 girls and 2 boys. I actually remember doing one gig, and there was an argument backstage because Harvey was like, "I want to sign this for you," you know.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh,
Big up Harvey.
hold tight, Harvey." He's probably not going to remember. If you're watching this, he's going to be like, "I don't know."
I'm sorry to that man.
I remember. I was there. You don't remember that?
Wow.
Of course, I got some family members that were in the industry at the time as well. Jamelia was about, and she was like, "Yo, I want to take you under my wing" and stuff like that.
Shout out to Jamelia.
Shout out Jamelia.
No matter.
Come on, yes, I am that. But the thing is though, so Jamelia and my cousin Zena were the 2 that came out of UK. So Zena used to be in Mystique.
Zena was in Mystique in the
That's
beginning,
right,
but
that's
they
right.
took her. See, I
That's
know.
alright.
Because I love Mystique. Mystique.
So then she went solo and did, what's that tune she did? Is it Beanie Man? What tune? Around the world, and I can't, that was Zena, that was.
I remember that song.
Yeah. And a solo thing with a sit down and drink told you. So yeah, and there were plenty of other names. I mean, Pato took me under his wing. Shout out to my godfather, man. I love him to bits.
Mr. Banton.
Mr. Banton is the king, and of course that when you get Pato, you get Yaz, and you get Skipper, and you get that whole line of genius that came out.
He was in good company then.
What? I've always been blessed. That's the
Brom's
one.
finest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on, I've always been blessed, and I've always been blessed with the older G's. It's always been people who are studied in the game, and I'm a man, as I said to you from the beginning, I sit down and I want to listen, I want to impart all of the information to me, so I can do it. So when everybody else was running around with young cats that were doing what they were doing, whilst I saw the benefit of that, I also saw the benefit of going and having dinner at Pato's yard, or having dinner with Mrs. Alexander, and having dinner with McCarthy, and all of these people that have come out from. Come on, you're mad.
Life of foreign.
What?
You know who I was having dinner with?
Go on.
My mum.
Come on. What's on the show? Oh yeah, shout out Maurice Delta as well. Maurice Delta, I was doing stuff with.
Pick up Morris Delta. Obviously, we had Malik Khan.
No, that's the nut that is. I love them. So yeah, I was about.
It was about. So after all that
Okay.
goodness, you decided to move out of Brom, leave Brom's finest to study at Bournemouth University.
That's right. That's right.
Why did you make that decision, and what did you study?
We can be real in this thing, innit?
Be real.
100.
Okay, cool.
100.
So I didn't make the decision to go to Bournemouth at
No,
all.
gosh.
It was in and around the time of the riots, and we lost a cousin to this team. And I remember, you might remember this.
I think I wasn't in Brom then, so.
That's all right, man. I remember being at the hospital and somebody saying, "So what, we're riding out then? What's going on? Are we doing this?" Like everyone was just like, there were certain people that were grieving, and then everyone else was kind of like, "What are we doing?" And I was caught in this trap of, "Yo, I'm building something here, but that's my cousin. Like we don't play games with that. You understand?" And so what happened was my mum kind of said to me, "Well, I got some family down in Dorset, we're Bournemouth in Dorset, right?" And she was just like, "Go spend some time with your auntie them and your cousins them. Clear your head. It's all green grass and sand and all things up there. Go on and relax." And I went down there, and I always walk with my guitar, because I just walk with my guitar wherever I go. And I just thought I'm going to do a couple of weeks down there, avoid the noise, and then come back. While I was down there, my auntie uses the studio. She's a singer.
Yeah.
And she uses the studio of the universities to record. She asked me to come in and help her, bring your guitars, and come do the cutting. Excuse me, give her 2 vocal and whatever. Not knowing that the engineer was the guy who runs the university course. So he came out and started talking to me. And this is about 2 weeks before uni's meant to start, Like it wasn't like some crossover thing, like you've got a couple of months to think. It's like,
It's clearing.
yeah, maybe a month. I said 2 weeks, and he said, maybe a month, right? And he just kind of said to me, "Can you do me a favour?" Because them times I was bandana up and give him the basketball chest. Just little vest showing, So he didn't know how to approach me. He was like, "Can you just do me a favour? Can you ever thought about going to university?" I'm not get educated right now. He's like an A-star student. Why am I trying to bring gangsters to bomb? So tell me. But it's not popping like that. But eventually my auntie told me, "Soften up, man, it's alright." I said, "Alright, cool." So we sat down, and he goes, "Do me a favour, just write about the last concert you ever went to." And the last gig I'd been to up until that point was a Busta Rhymes gig, right? Yeah. So I wrote about it, and in my head I thought, I know what this guy wants. He wants to test my comprehension, So I write fucking word, yeah, big word now. What an emphatic introduction to the world of evolutionary hip-hop. I gave him the whole, because I knew exactly where he was going with it, but I had no intention of going to uni. I was just like, I wanted to show him, and be like, "You see, look, being in, catch me." But when I gave him the paper, he was like, "I want to offer you an unconditional offer." Straight away, like,
wow.
I was like, "Unconditional?" He was like, yeah. I was like, "So what does that mean?" He said, "But it's not conditional." I'm like, "I'm not a fool." But so what, are you offering me? Are you paying for me? What's going on? The question I'm asking is, how much money do I need? And it was like, it was almost like similar to what a half scholarship would be now.
Okay.
So I told my mum, and she was like, "You need to do it." My auntie was like, she goes, "You can live with me, blah, 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 blah." I was like, "Nah, man, I can't come out the ends." We just formed our little group. You understand? We're rolling. And I had to come, and you know what, when I really looked at it and listened to what the people around me said, and I remember being on the block when I went back to the boys and said to them, like, some of them were crying, and like it was like, "Yeah, you've made it, bro." Because man didn't go to uni them days, you understand? Like,
Yeah,
you made it.
yeah.
But some man were like, you've sold out.
Yeah.
So I had this big
Conflict
battle.
of
Yeah, it was a real
Yeah.
conflict of interest, and it created a real complex in me as well, because I had to bring gangster to Bournemouth
Yeah.
in order to stroke my ego.
Yeah. And not feel like you sold out yourself.
Come on.
Yeah.
So I'm bopping into halls like old school. Bam, 2 speakers on my shoulder. I'm sitting at my studio in my room. The room ain't no bigger than this. Big screen. Boom, boom, boom. I go in the kitchen. There's a little girl. This is the girl, and I said, "Hello." I'm like, what are you saying? I got all of this. What do you want? She's like, that's my mum. You alright, mum? I'm there with my uncles. I got beer, man, chicken, and line up on the plate. What's to eat? Sat down with my legs wide open. I gave them all of that. You see, by the end of it, what? I've been to a wedding. I've been to the best of friend that one girl. You know, it was all white people in my dorm. But you know what? Shout out to my Cranbourne squad, man. They taught me something about myself.
Yeah.
Like I remember my boy. I'll never forget my boy Chris Millie turned around to me one time. Shout out Chris Millie, man, and he just went.
Shout out, Chris.
Shout out Chris. I'm gonna make sure he sees this. And he just said to me like, you don't have to be like that, you know. He just said like that. Man, I said the man took the sting off everything, you know. I said, you're alright, Granny, you know. No one's coming for you like that. So now start wearing our loose pants and things. Start wearing our loose pants and that. Took my jumper off in the club now. You know them ones. Start wearing 2 flip-flop and them thing there.
Stop it.
That's the story of how I actually ended up at university. No money, no nothing.
It's a positive story.
It's a beautiful story now that I look at it, but at the time I felt like I sold out, but I won't change it.
It probably shaped you into who you are today.
1,000%, 1,000%. More than school, more than college.
That's really
That
good.
was my shaping period.
So you graduated with a 2-1?
Yeah, I got my 2.
Okay.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. You know why I didn't get the first? You know why I didn't get the first? I just used to go into the music room and rehearse.
It don't matter, you graduated.
When I graduated.
Yeah.
Because I graduated.
Come on, you better hold that.
I'm going to take that.
Take it all
I
the
didn't
way,
get no
man.
personal. But I graduated.
Ready
Well,
for
that's right. In this day and age, come
Yeah,
on.
it's an achievement.
Hold it, man.
Okay, as a single mom, I'm going to take
We play the
that.
whole game. Come on. I respect
Okay.
that. I got the old round of applause. Give her a flowers. Give her a flowers. What's this still alive? Give her a flowers. Come on. Come on. Hey, it's getting hot in here.
There's enough bag on the legs
No
now.
fun. No fun.
Not too hot.
You can't have me back here.
So that was in music, practice and performing arts, yeah?
That's right.
So then you returned to Brum. So what was it like coming back to Brum after your time at uni and the changes that you'd gone through? And
It's a very good question. It was heartbreaking because I came back and saw everybody in the same place.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. That's deep.
Yeah. It really caught me. I was so excited to come back home and share. And what I tried to do along the route as well was like, you not come down to Bournemouth, there's a new way of living down here.
Yeah.
And man would come and be like, stand up and be like, by the end of the night now, man, they relax, dance out with girl and but dancing,
No,
and it's not aggressive, it's not whining, because nobody down there is no whining. You know what I mean? So you're really having that Agadoo time, you know? You know, like that.
I can do time.
Having that good old come on Eileen time, you know, the way you get. But there wasn't, now listen, shout out Tiny Temper and my homie DJ J Fresh. He used to spin a lot of my tunes, and one time I remember I was in the club, the R&B room, but the R&B room only opened at like 11 o'clock. So you go on club from 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, R&B room open, pop downstairs now. And J Fresh would be playing my tunes and everyone, and he was like, shout out Tiny. So I'm like, but. Tutors are up behind me, he's talking about Tiny Temper. So Tiny, but obviously Tiny Temper is short.
Yeah.
In my head, he's not. In my head, he's not. So I'm like this, but there's like a booth with beer goons there, and this guy he's talking about me now. I'm like, you cool though?
I can't.
So it was a moment still. It was a magic moment. So I was trying to introduce the boys to that life. Come and see. Look, like we're gonna go and take a walk on the beach.
Yeah.
We got let's
Different way of living.
let's sit and talk about what the next steps are for us. And I must admit, our little inner circle, although we belong to the wider group of man from block and whatever, our inner circle have always thought differently. There's just been something in it, but there was no one carrying the torch of it. And I kind of said to myself, look, I'm out and I'm coming back, so I'm looking to bring that.
Yeah.
So when I came back home, it was heartbreaking to see that you know, I'd walk past the same shops and see the same people, and the only difference is now they've got 4 kids. And they're still doing the same thing, and I just thought, that's when I started.
And that's no shame.
That's no shame, no disrespect
No
to
shame.
anybody, but I mean in the sense of progress. I don't mean in a sense of paternity or anything like that. You know, because I got my boys now, like it's nothing like that.
I got kids, so
come on.
I will stand for that,
I love my
ladies.
children. And I would never say anything that meant that or came across that way. People who know me will know exactly where I'm coming from. It was more about the case of, okay, now that you have got 4 kids, now that you have got 4 kids, why are you still here? It was more that, and it was killing me because I'd seen how the other side live, and I was like, you know, it's open. You know how much things that we do. I mean, I know we're stifled as black people, but you know how many things that we stifle ourselves from. Like there was nothing over that side that said I weren't allowed to be there. You know, apart from me, I would go in there with certain people taking me to a certain place, go on fishing, and I'm standing there like, this ain't for me because you don't like. You died a horrible death in my halls when I can only turn around when things are going wrong, and I can only turn around to white Chris Millie, who's the exact opposite of me, slim, short, white, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say? And Millie's giving me the advice of life. You get me, my boy Chris Simpson, all of these kind of guys that you would think, if you was walking on block with these brothers, you would eat them alive, and then would look at you like, what you're doing. You get me? But I wanted more for the squad, so when I came back and I saw that, I was like, we need to put some plans in action, and something has to lead this. Because we were a movement and we were phenomenal, and we were a group of talented, from Black Alive, talented ridiculously and already thinking outside the box, but there was nowhere to place it. So the transition from Bournemouth back to Brom, I could feel myself kind of going back over that bridge again, and I didn't like who I was starting to become, because I was a maturer version of the youth that I was before.
Just taking a step backwards.
You knew better, but you were still
getting
playing
drawn.
100%, and it was easier now, because I've been under the radar for so long, so certain men weren't looking for me again like that. Not that I had beef like that, but I mean, when I say people weren't looking for me, like they weren't even checking for me. My flat, people were knocking on the flat because they knew I hadn't been there for a few years. Do you get me? So I could now be in the flat with the boys, doing all kinds of crud, and nobody. Do you see what I mean? So it was one of those ones.
So you are currently a mentor, communication specialist, coach, a teacher, and many other stuff.
I've just been reading my LinkedIn.
Who told you that?
Actually, my main role at the moment, I'm currently the artistic associate of Birmingham Opera Company.
Wait, sorry. Slow that down.
That's a big deal.
That's a title. Say that again.
Yeah, I'm the artistic associate of Birmingham Opera Company.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Can you sing opera then?
trained wise, I understand it, but I don't sing.
Okay.
But I'm working more down because I direct theatre and things like that. So I'm working more down actually building the piece of opera. I'm working alongside the musical director there.
Wow.
And making sure making sure that we don't lose any integrity in the performances.
Yeah.
So actually bringing a lot more theatre integrity to the pieces. But that's another door I want to open up for our people.
That's a big deal.
Because opera's no joke. Opera's no joke. I'm gonna take you out to opera on these days.
Okay.
I'm down.
Promise.
We're going.
We're just like, yes.
Okay. You love it.
I want to go to a ballet one day, actually.
Yeah, I got links at the Royal Ballet, Birmingham Royal Ballet with Carlos Acosta.
I'm gonna put on my pretty gown and stuff and.
You'd think that when I go and sit down with these guys,
Just kill that
I mean, if you want to, sorry.
Is that what you did?
You grab yourself up, baby. You grab yourself up, baby.
Better put on some
You better
jeans.
put on the loose pant there. Bring back my Bournemouth loose pants.
That's how they look on TV. They're all dressed up.
Exactly, and that's why they struggle with numbers of our community.
I never see you.
I'll be there in my gown, honey. I represent for them.
I think it's beautiful for us to turn up and actually indulge in that
Yeah.
and nice ourselves, but in actual fact,
can.
of course we can. But when we're having initial conversations, it's good to pull on some of this. Like I'll go and have a conversation with guys and have meetings with these guys who are running theatres and opera companies around the world, and just you want to talk to me, you know. So this is how I came to work today. Let's conversate. Now, I'm not using it as an arrogant tool. I'm using it as if you want a level of comfort. If you want me to engage my people,
Yeah.
you've got to know that if you can't handle me like this, and I'm the one that speaks the language
All
of
types
you know,
about blackness,
Come on.
standing your blackness
Every
in all
time.
its glory.
every time. So yeah, we can do that. So yeah, Artistic Associate of Birmingham Upper Company, and that does come with some mentoring, some coaching, whether that's vocal tuition or whether that's just peer-to-peer mentoring. And I used to be the behaviour lead at a behaviour school as well. So my thing has always been about trying to elevate, and also my thing's always been about cognitive. Like what goes on in the mind and why, what triggers that. I don't want to know what the behaviour is. I can see the behaviour. I want to know what triggers the behaviour, and if there's a root that we can talk about. Let's talk about what the real thing, what's the real issue. And I do that whether it's kids or whether it's adults. When we have conversations, I'm like, okay, let's get to what you're really trying to say, because what you're putting out isn't what you're trying to say to me. So even in conversation, argument with the missus or whatever it is, I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but is that actually something else? Because I'd rather talk about the thing that's really bothering you than have to live through this wall of stuff that we've got to navigate. Yeah, consistently. So that's how I live.
Okay, well done you.
Thank you very much.
So we gonna talk about 2018, huh?
What happened in 2018?
It was somebody on XFactor.
Oh, I forgot.
You forgot.
No, genuinely, no, sorry. I know that sounds so arrogant. No, I genuinely forgot. Yeah.
Well, what was that experience like then, if you can remember?
No, now that you've said it, I can remember. It was the weirdest experience of my life. We got headhunted.
Really?
Yeah, so we didn't have to audition.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Excuse me, and at this time I created a group with my wife and my girl cousin and my sister-in-law.
Shout out to wifey.
Come on, JJ.
JJ.
Come on. That's my life. She's something else. She's something else.
So
They hollered at me, and I was like, no, I know what this foolishness is. I'm against the man.
It's all the game. It's all the
But actually, by this time, I'd kind of found faith, and I'd stepped into a new little realm, and I thought maybe there was something bigger, maybe there was a bigger task at hand, and it had nothing to do with the performance, right? So I spoke to the girls and said, come, let's just go and give them what we've got. And all we had to do was sing in front of one producer in London, and he was like, yeah. Next thing you know, we're on the show.
Wow.
There's a lot that happens in that show that dictates the way certain things are going to go. So the way in which you heard us and saw us is not accurate to what occurred.
Of course.
Right? And I'm saying that respectfully.
We already know.
No, the thing set.
We know Papa, we know the thing set.
No, the thing set.
They generalize me. But as an experience, it was mad interesting. I mean, like, just opened up to like the world of like the homosexual community, trans community, who were all coming to us and saying, "Yo, the church is like fully poo-pooed us and we hate it." And like, but you guys are all right. So I'm like, well, if we're going to be advocates for what true faith is meant to be, true believership is meant to be,
We are all God's children.
right? So then we had to find a path, and it even happened with Simon and Robbie. Man, come and just check man secretly, and you see all the other contestants hating, and they just come and talk to me and say, so what's going on? Robbie said to me, he goes, "Why are you even here?" Because your people called me.
Guess what, Robbie, you're talking about?
Talking about Robbie Williams,
Right.
he would just come into our dressing room and just talk to us, and I know he wasn't doing this with the other artists. It got to a stage even when they were filming and we'd be on stage, there'd be groups that'd come out and they'd look at me and go, and I'd be like, I mean that genuinely, to the point where Simon was looking, and he kept looking at Robbie, looking at me, and he was going, and he looked at me and he went, "What's going on between?" So actually, they play a character as well. So Simon, when he goes on with his nastiness, he hates it. He doesn't like being that person, but he pays his check. So you'll see him, he has the drink, but they'll never show it on telly, because the crowd's booing him now and all those kind of things. So when we got kicked off, it's because something contractually happened with another 2 women that were put together as a group. They have to get through to another round.
Oh wow!
Right. So and it was all that kind of stuff. So, but it was a heck of an experience. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for me. It's not the way I want quote unquote success to come. But I do think if your life banked on it, people are like, "Oh God, please give me another chance."
Yeah.
That's not where we were. Our story was very much like, "Yo, I've reached success."
Yeah.
I've got
We're
my
doing
wife
our thing
and my kids.
regardless.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
move. And so I feel like, actually Robbie even said, he was like, "I don't know what to do with you guys. You guys know what you want to do." So when we left, it was kind of The crowd wouldn't agree, but for me it was amicable. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
we've done what we said to do. It was more about what happens backstage.
I like what you said, that you have success, you found your wife, your kids, and
Yeah.
for certain people success is financial, but
Right.
for others it's that your fame, it's your family, your
Yeah.
peace of mind.
No, 100%. And there's certain things that I will never give over just to get those things,
Sacrifice
right?
for,
Yeah.
in our soul we saw.
Never that. And but when you sit in these meetings and you can see, you're okay. Okay. You wrote that in blood, yeah? Okay, I see. Yeah. I see, yeah.
Doses.
Yeah, you get me. But yeah, it was a heck of an experience though.
Okay.
So what's next for our priest?
Currently now trying to find a way to bring my faith and what I understand to be a warped reality of what it means to be a believer into some sort of music and some sort of production thing, whereby you're meeting people at the point of their need rather than dictating to them what they should believe, and meeting them at a place where you know you're just as flawed as anybody else, you just have a hope in hope, right?
Okay.
And so my music has kind of taken a turn whereby I want the music still has to bang, like it still has to be playable, but it's not, it carries the gospel because I carry the gospel, not because it's gospel music,
Yeah.
because I think gospel is not a genre, do you understand? And I also feel like throwing the book in your face is not the right way to do it. So
Yeah.
when I love my wife with all my heart and soul, but when I'm like steered and veered away, I'm gonna write about that so that people can go, raw. This is where we're at. You understand what I mean?
Humanising you, not just being a Christian or
Yeah.
devoted to gospel. It's just that you are still human. You still have
Facts.
your
Facts.
ways.
Facts. It's about the conflict between humanity and spirituality, right? And I think that's what everybody's going through at the moment, and people are just naming it different things.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I want to be able to share that with people and go, okay, this is where I want to meet you. But that's still, but's the wrong word, and yet we're still trying to make music that people are going to listen to.
Yeah.
Still trying to involve people in the things that we're trying to do. So there's a couple of tracks out at the moment that are on all the major digital platforms, and I'm just shot a video for my next one, and then hopefully we're looking to put like an EP together that's going to be staged, so there'll be performances with it and acting, bring the opera crew into it, and just use all of these mediums, so it becomes like a mini proms.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's where I'm heading towards. But slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins
Ain't
the
no
race.
rush.
So where can we find you?
Oh God, you can find me on all the Zojo need, yeah? Zojo. God almighty, FaceTube and YouBook. Instafy and whatever. So I priest official on Instagram. I'd priest on Twitter. I'd priest on Facebook. And I think those are the main ones. And you can find them. But you'll also find me on Spotify and find me on.
Yeah. We'll tag all your stuff.
Yeah. Let the people them know. But yeah, it's an interesting journey. If you want to just see the journey of a Roman nomad, then come and follow me, man. Come and follow me.
Well, thank you.
Nah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, ladies. And you keep it up. I'm a fan.
Stop.
No, I'm not a fan. I'm a liar. I'm a supporter.
Thank
I'm
you.
a
Thank you.
supporter.
Yeah, we don't have
We
fans.
don't need fandom right now.
We have supporters.
So I'm invested. So thank you for calling me. If you want me back, you want some more joke, let me know.
Definitely.
I'll be sensible next time.
We don't want
I'm
you
about to say,
to
we ain't sensible.
I'll bring my suit. And I'll bring mama's suit. And the little spots. God almighty.
Shout out to our sponsors, Danes Catering, for your delicious Caribbean delights. Get your parties and events catered for if you live in the local Brum area. Also get your t-shirt prints from Say with Lex, your cups, your duvet covers, and for your herbs, your herbal blends, Seamoss gel, visit K.G Holistic Herbs, and all the information will be available down below and also via our Instagram page, which is a Trade of You 01.
So thank you guys again for watching and staying with us. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and press that bell to be the first to watch our videos.
Until next time.
Bye.